We want to get to some breaking news now. Hunter Biden has agreed to testify in front of Congress in December, but only if he can do so publicly. His testimony is part of a GOP-led impeachment investigation inquiry into President Biden and his family. Hunter Biden's attorneys sent a letter saying that he will testify on December 13th or at any date in December. Earlier this month, House Oversight Chairman James Comer subpoenaed the president's son and brother and called for them to sit down in a closed-door deposition as he conducts the inquiry. The committee wanted that deposition, but Hunter Biden's attorney said that he didn't trust Representative Comer to give a truthful account of the hearing. In response, Comer said Hunter Biden is trying to play by his own rules instead of following the rules required of everyone else. That won't stand with House Republicans. As the war continues in the Middle East and also in Europe with Ukraine, Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer is pushing for more congressional aid for Ukraine and Israel. Schumer says that he will bring such legislation to the Senate floor as soon as next week. The New York Democrat also is blaming Republican senators' immigration policy demands for slowing down aid efforts. Joining me now, Emily Brooks, congressional reporter from our partners at The Hill. Emily, thank you. I want to talk about Hunter Biden first here because this news is breaking. What more are you hearing about this exchange between Representative Comer and how likely that this testimony will be public in the weeks ahead?
Well, certainly House Republicans want the initial testimony from Hunter Biden to be behind closed doors in that deposition format. That is what Chairman Comer was saying. And so this back and forth is going to set off sort of a dispute about what format this will take. Now, Hunter Biden has been subpoenaed, and so there is some legal weight behind that. And whether this turns out to be behind closed doors in that December 13th date that the House Oversight Committee had set, and then perhaps a public hearing later, or whether they can negotiate that only being in a public forum. It should be interesting to see, but either way, it does appear that, Hunter Biden is willing to talk to the committee in some form. It's just going to be what matter that will take.
How are Democrats responding to this?
Now, Democrats are certainly defending the White House, defending President Biden, saying that this is a political investigation meant to hurt the president. They have torn apart the House Republican investigation from the very beginning. So, of course, they are more supportive of the idea of Hunter Biden testifying in a public format. Hunter Biden's lawyer did say in that letter to the House Oversight Committee that he does not want the closed door session because he's worried about Republicans manipulating or the testimony and releasing parts of it publicly without the full context, et cetera. And so that's why they are pushing for a public hearing.
All right. Well, in the weeks ahead, we'll see where this goes. Let's talk about aid for Ukraine and also Israel. Senator Chuck Schumer is now pushing to pass funding for both. What is in his proposal?
So the exact details of the proposal are still being worked out because of that negotiation happening with Republican senators about what potential border security, border asylum changes portion could be attached to this. That's something that Republicans in both chambers really want to see as a condition for Ukraine aid in order to push that through. That is also something that in the House, Speaker Mike Johnson said that he is looking to see as part of that Ukraine aid package. And so the interesting thing will be whether this package can move through Congress, combining that Ukraine aid and Israel aid, given the fact that the House has already passed a competing measure for Israel aid, but combined with tax cuts to the IRS funding that was boosted last year in the last Democratic-controlled Congress. So Democratic senators and Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer does not like that. They would like that just to be Israel aid and Ukraine aid without those IRS tax cuts. But right now, Speaker Johnson in the House is saying look, we sent you something. He wants those to be separate issues. And so as we progress through December, that is going to be one of the top disputes and things that Congress is working out in both chambers.
Emily Brooks, congressional reporter with The Hill. Thank you. Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.